Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. We are live and back at it again, folks. We are ready on this Thursday night to bring you your AEW All Out previews and predictions. Of course, the show's on Saturday, but before we get there, me and these two pretty faces are going to dive into all the matches, all the action, all the expectations, and the build towards the show, folks. So make sure you strap in, strap on, grab your snacks, grab your feel good. Let's go. Ding, 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 folks. We are back at it again. Welcome to the Wrestling for Life Network. We have the AEW All Out preview and predictions tonight. As I said, we're looking forward to this one. It's going to be a fun one as me, Nick, and Anthony dive into all of the matches and everything they're bringing for us. Lots to talk about. Very intriguing. Quick turnaround from All In to All Out. But we will talk about it all. Get in that chat. Click all the buttons. Don't forget to like the stream. Click those little reaction buttons and let us know what you're thinking. We will be putting polls up during the show. But without further ado, I will remind you, I am Mr. Everynight KJ White, the Iron Man of YouTube. That's Anthony. That's Anthony. And Mr. Big Nick.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the Wrestling for Life Network proudly brings to you its tag stream trios champions of the world, the Every Night Delight KJ White, the Chapeau, well, formerly known as the Chapeau that runs the show, the ringsider, insider for TNA, Anthony. I am Big Nick. How you doing, gentlemen?
Anthony, how are you, sir?
I am doing good. I'm doing good. I just took a quick look at the All Out card because I didn't know what was going on, and it's actually looking pretty decent. So yeah, I'm kind of excited.
Yeah, I've seen mixed feelings on it. On paper, guys, I mean, on paper, I think there's a lot of potential, and there's a couple matches that people aren't thrilled about, but I think because of who's involved, they might be okay. So I think on paper, it looks intriguing. As long as they don't add too many matches between now and Saturday, it could be a pretty solid show.
We're at 8 so far, so plus or minus 5.
Don't do it. Don't
round it out around, All Out and everything like that, or All In. Sorry, but there's honestly like 3, maybe 4 matches I'm excited for on this.
Okay.
Maybe the Kazuchika Okada TBD if they throw, depending on who they throw in there, maybe. But like this is to me like a 3-match card, and especially after we saw in Dynamite, this might be more a 1-match card.
Very interesting. I mean, it could be a little deeper than that, but I do see this chat filling up. We will get to your comments as well. Anthony taking all the heel heat.
I guess so, because I don't have my hat on.
Right.
I pointed out you weren't wearing a hat, and everybody just turned heel on you. So I exposed the business. I'm sorry.
You pulled the curtain.
Right.
Well, of course, the big talk, and we're going to talk about it more later in the show, but Dynamite was last night. 660 was the rating. Not very good by all standards.
I take umbrage with that. Honestly, I do. For one time, I am taking umbrage with people coming at AEW for their ratings and everything like that, because people are going off of that last segment saying, well, see, it should have been higher. They didn't advertise that. That wasn't planned. That wasn't part of the show. It was the last segment of the show, so it's not going to boost the ratings a ton on that, because you're not going to call your buddy for the last 5 minutes. So to me, it was just a regular – I would expect the regular rating that it was going to get for a Dynamite, honestly. Yeah, people are hanging the last segment that was great on that rating, and I don't agree with that. That was to sell the pay-per-view. That was to go a long ways.
Yeah, I don't think that's the case, though. I think the fact of what you advertised didn't intrigue people. So the fact that the house burned down in the overrun, that is irrelevant to me. You were advertising MJF, you were advertising Okada, you were advertising Mariah May in action. It was just not enough there. And anybody that did tune in early, we were here all night. I mean, the show started pretty good, pretty okay, and then it was boring as shit. Now, I know the tribalists out there were like, oh, it was awesome. What a go-home show. It struggled. It was unentertaining. It was boring. It was worse than the previous 2 nights of watching wrestling.
I guess I'll just quickly clarify what I was taking an issue with of it. I've seen people that have blamed, have even included the last segment of like, so see, they did all of this and still couldn't get a good rating. That wasn't the intent of that. I understand that it probably wasn't great and everything. That to me was a typical regular AEW Dynamite rating. I expected that. Just more of people blaming the last segment of, see, they did this and still couldn't pop a rating. That wasn't that intent.
Yeah, that's silly.
Oh, that's definitely silly. Was Big Bang Theory on last night?
Yeah.
By any chance? I'm just trying to figure out, was their lead-in not on last night for them to have a solid night?
But that's their average now, is in the 600s, the 650s and above. They stay between 650 and 7 now. That's a bit of the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking for myself, I tune out almost 45 minutes in almost every week. It's like on the dot, 45 minutes in, I'm turning it off. Because
third segment in, that's probably Jericho territory.
That's about right. That is about right. It's about the Jericho territory. I don't find it. If you don't grab me, and that's really with any show, but if you don't really grab me with something in the first like 30 minutes, I just kind of tune out. And then I will get to it later when we get to the Mercedes match, because I kind of have something to say there. But it's just if you're not grabbing my attention very quickly, I kind of get bored and I just kind of tune out. And that's kind of been the consensus with AEW over the past couple of months.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. And again, I think all of us have kind of things that we want to dive into without over talking about what's about to happen. So I think without further ado, we will probably get into all the action. But again, folks, I see you out there. We're not going to go through roll call tonight, but hello, welcome. I hope everyone had an amazing Friday, Junior. The weekend is upon us. We will be back tomorrow for a huge stream as Collision goes up against SmackDown, and Rampage will be on as well. Lord knows what else we're going to get into. And of course, Saturday night, All Out, the show that we are talking about here tonight. So lots coming your way, lots to get into. Don't forget, go to our merch store, get some merch, get some swag. And if you want to support a good cause in honor of Big Nick's birthday, you can get your F Meltzer t-shirts now as we try and raise money for literacy and helping those out there that need better reading skills, i.e. observer readers.
And unless we can get Stephen P. New on retainer or anything, just in case they're just FCKMLTZR, we're big fans of those letters in the alphabet and everything like that. In case we're not Kevin Kelly or the boys and can get Stephen P. New on retainer.
Well, I do know the phone number. You know the jingle. Right? 37-man tag match announced for 0 Hour. I haven't heard about anything added to 0 Hour. 37-man tag match is an odd number, though, C-Money. I do appreciate the attempt.
He's including the managers and the officials and everything. Because I do think that was close to the amount of people that were on 0 Hour for All In. I think we did the math because you were like, what is with these 17-man tag matches and everything like that? I'm like, I think they've had like 30-plus people on just the pre-show.
Oh, yeah, smorgasbord of like, Mr. Tony, you can't go past 10 o'clock because there's a curfew. And he was just like, shove them all in. It was brutal.
How many plane tickets did he buy?
Millions.
Like did he just get like buy one, get 10 free deal or something like that? Does he have the billionaire hookup?
Papa Chad's jet, buddy.
Yeah, Papa Chad.
All right, gentlemen and folks out there. The first match we will discuss, a grudge match. We saw it on the pre-show at All In. With a tag team match now actually getting the payoff at All Out. Willow and Statlander. How do we feel about this one?
The match is 2 months too late, like, and everything. We've already seen this. You just said we saw it on the pre-show in a tag match. Like, I want to like this. I want Statlander to be competing for the women's title and everything. I want Willow to be, the baby face that's constantly challenging Mercedes and everything. I just don't give a fuck anymore about this. Like, I've seen it so much.
So I think I'm excited for the match itself, but storyline, it had potential. It had potential, and it was instantly ruined by having the first contest in the tournament, the Owen Hart tournament. That's when it was instantly ruined. But I think I'm excited for the match because I think it is a street fight. So to see these two ladies go at it with weapons, I think that'd be great. But storyline wise, I'm just not into it anymore. It had potential. This was one of the things that hooked me to coming back each and every week. And then they had that first blow off match in the tournament, and it just kind of ruined things for me, I guess.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I mean, again, I think they kind of did it in a weird order. Like the tag match with Ishii, and that was silly. I think Stat should have been pushed to the top of the division when she dropped the TBS title. Willow is probably the best pure baby face that they have in the women's division. I had to give it a thought for a second, but I think Willow's done a great job being a uber baby face. Again, I don't know. Again, they have this match, and then what? Where do they go? Is there a plan, an idea? It's unfortunate for these two ladies because they're so talented, and I feel like other people are getting their spot, time, and attention that don't necessarily deserve it. So I really hope that this match bangs just to prove a point.
I think it will because of just on the principle of it's a street fight and Chris Statlander is talented and so is Willow. I actually was just, while you both gentlemen were talking of, I was looking up on Cage Match, I know, super reputable, of how many matches these two women have had during this feud already. This will be the 5th match that they've had in this feud. They have already had Statlander and Watanabe and Tom versus Willow. I think that's about the start of the feud and everything like that. Then they had 2 singles matches already. You had the one in the Owen, and then you had the one for the CMLL title, which is what's online for this one. And then you had the tag match at All In on the pre-show. So this will be the 5th match already just in this feud. And the 3rd match that they've had as a singles match. So that's why I want Willow to win. I almost want both women to win. I remember when Willow was super over, I think Willow's going to win. Statlander should be challenging for a world title instead of in this muck. I think that's, like you said, KJ, that's why we thought she dropped the belt and everything like that, or, lost it. So I'm just over this. Honestly, I'm over this.
I mean, maybe it's a bad sign that, like, when you said 5, I was like, I can't recall 5.
I thought this was actually the 3rd one, to be honest.
This is their 3rd singles match, but their 5th in the feud
match overall.
Okay. And again, I think if it warrants it, then fine, you have the matches. But I mean, this is not.
This don't.
Yeah, it's almost overkill. But like I said, I hope these two ladies show up, show out, and prove to everybody that they deserve to be higher on this card. So that is my hope. For my money, and I'm gonna go. I feel like Statlander is going to win this one.
Fair enough. I honestly ultimately hope for, like what you said, of out of this, they realize both women should move up the card and beyond this, because I don't need to see this a 6th, 7th time or anything. And honestly, both women are talented enough that this shouldn't be where they just stay at. Like we've seen it with Deonna Purrazzo and why am I
Thunder
Rosa. With Thunder Rosa and Deonna Purrazzo, that's what I was saying. So it was seeing them just constantly floundering in the same feud forever and ever and ever.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I'm gonna take Willow here.
Okay.
I'm with Nick though. Like, I wish both of them could really win. But I'm gonna take Willow here. I think Lady B made a comment up at the top a little earlier saying that CEO shouldn't have the TBS championship, and I think that's kind of when it went all downhill a little bit for Willow.
Yeah.
I think she was doing great as champion, and then the first big feud was with CEO, and then after that it just kind of took a downhill spiral there for Willow. But I'm gonna take Willow. I think Willow wins this.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that for Willow, because we all saw what happened and we knew they gave her the belt just to hand it off to kind of get the revenge for the injury. It was so cookie cutter and so obvious that it wasn't exciting. And then Willow kind of got left out in the mix, and then ended up in like this semi Ring of Honor feud. And now here we are. So again, I think there's a lot of talented women. I've seen a couple comments in the chat about the plethora of women that have talented women that are in this roster that are underutilized right now. But I mean, that I think goes without saying across the board.
Christ, people forget Athena's about to pass Joe's record for longest Ring of Honor title reign for any Ring of Honor title. We still Sky Blue's on the bench, you know, Julia Hart's on the bench. We just saw Christ, I'm gonna be terrible with names tonight, apparently. Britt Baker's friend, she just showed up on the pre-show. Help me.
Jamie Hayter?
There we go. Thank you,
okay.
Anthony. We just had Jamie Hayter show up, and she's still kind of just in a nothing. They had a return on a pre-show, so
57% of the chat right now, folks, is taking Willow. So a slight advantage to Willow. I'm just trying to put my head around Tony Khan's booking, and I feel like Bibbins is going to help Stat, and Stat's going to get the W. But yeah, we're looking forward to a fun match. I'm glad it's not on the pre-show. I don't think they've really announced anything for 0 Hour yet. So interesting.
Keyword yet.
Yes, because we do have some other things happening tomorrow night. So we'll see.
Right.
All right. Well, with that being said, one of the things that we're going to find out tomorrow, and one of the things we're going to talk about in this case is we can't really give a prediction on this match. Okada will defend his belt against 3 mystery opponents. My question on this match before we move on, why is this just not Okada versus Claudio or Okada versus Shida, who came out last night? And I thought, all right, do this match. But now, I mean, Takeshita could make it into this. Other people can make it into this, but Claudio's elsewhere. So we saw a 20-minute time limit draw for Claudio that is never followed back up.
Welcome to the AEW paradox. I don't know what to tell you of just there's plenty of shit that is just done and then never followed up on. Of like Takeshita by now, I'm so glad you brought him up because by now he should be one of their top heels, their top acts, their top stars, homegrown and everything like that on the roster. At this point, you don't know where the fuck he is, wherever he is, what he's doing, who he's mad at, who he's feuding with. Like, I don't get that whole situation. And this overly makes me feel like I'm in a loop. There you go. But Okada, like, is it weird that you almost feel with the way that they've been booking AEW, you could put anybody in those question marks, in that TBD. I know KJ always likes taking TBD, but you still probably take Okada in this, almost at this point, because he's friends with the elites. It's Okada. He says bitch, and it's funny. So that's why, yeah, I saw the picture to where everybody's just bitch. But
and all the bitches.
Yeah, but I feel like that's what it is at this point. Like, trying to make sense of this booking is insane.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. I mean, the only person I can think of other than the 2 that you name is like, do you put Ricochet in this match? I don't know.
Go after FTW title.
Really? Oh,
I kid. We'll talk about that. We can talk about that.
Like, wait a minute. What was the point of leaving WWE to go after a title that's not even recognized by the
No, we can talk about this. I don't understand wanting to talk about this, but yeah, we can talk about this because he very much should and could and all that. Like, this should be your heavy hitters of a Ricochet, a Kyle Fletcher. I know everybody was mad that Kyle Fletcher was in there, so maybe put a Claudio in there. But I think he's got other stuff going on. I may be wrong. And then you get Takeshita in there. And that's a hell of a mid-card title there. You can have a fantastic match, and Okada don't want to bump where the fuck. But they'll throw it in there with, Orange Cassidy and Ishii, and who cares? And they'll call it a match.
Yeah, and I mean, again, I have a big issue with you sign Ricochet. You make a big deal about it. The AEW tribalists, rejoice and dance, and this guy's going to make such a big difference. You bring him back in a gauntlet match where he had about 45 seconds of highlight. You bring him out to fight Fletcher in which was a match that wasn't as good as Ospreay and Fletcher, wasn't as good as MJF and Fletcher, so it paled in comparison to 2 previous matches that just happened. If you are going to have Ricochet at All Out, he has to be advertised. You have to have him. You got to be telling everybody, like, Ricochet's making his pay-per-view debut. If he qualifies or gets picked somehow randomly to be TBD in that match, to me, that's a dropped ball that you're not advertising your biggest free agent signing in a while is not going to, like, how could you not advertise that?
that makes you wonder if Tony Khan considers him a big free agent signing.
Woo! Oh,
I'm just
Old
saying.
strategy card. Let's see how it works
I'm
out.
just saying. I mean, KJ threw those big words out, about a big signing. Maybe TK doesn't see him that way.
Oh, come on.
Whoa.
Like there's been multiple signings that are far less on the totem pole than Ricochet, and Tony Khan's acted like he just won the Heisman or something like that. He just struck the lotto.
Fuck lotto.
Have they I'm about to die.
I got the digits from your mama for $1.
Right. I heard you. But could it be just, again, I don't want to use the word fumble. He dropped the ball with this already out of the gate. And it could be even just, I'm using Ricochet's words against himself to an extent. If he blamed himself for the issues in WWE, valid, super credible and everything like that, respectable. But he had the same match that he had every time he had a match in WWE with Kyle Fletcher. It just had a different 3 letters around it. So is it more like to what even Anthony almost said of, is he just kind of almost having buyer's remorse already?
I don't think he should. I think them signing Ricochet had a lot of promise.
They just might fuck it up on how to use it. Sorry.
Right? Like, look what NXT did with Julia. Julia feels like a big deal, an absolute big deal. You didn't throw her into some random multi-person match, and she didn't even win that. And if you put Ricochet in that Okada match and he doesn't leave with the belt, y'all fucked up. Like, you have to present him to us like a star, or he's just another guy. And that to me is contrary to what Ricochet said in interviews of, like, I feel like AEW is the place that I think they're booking you just as, or if not slightly worse than where you used to be.
Did they kneecap him when they had him come out as a surprise entrant in that battle royal and he didn't win? And wasn't even in the finish, didn't win, not even close to the finish.
I think the mistake becomes, it's not even that he didn't win. He should have been involved in the finish in such a way that coming out of All In, they established who has an issue with Ricochet showing up. There should have been someone in that match that was like, I don't like you. You don't belong here. And I will fight you at All Out. And we were excited for it for 2 weeks.
What is one of the booking problems with AEW where they don't? So I'm going to use Julia as an example. We knew Julia was coming, right? We knew she had signed. We knew she was coming. And then it was kind of expected to happen at No Mercy, right? Is AEW's booking problem is we sign the big star and we immediately got to have them on the show? Or why don't we plan something out for them to be, they sign, I'm just using today as an example, they sign today and then we don't see them debut until October-ish or November-ish. Something is thought out and planned. Is that one of the booking problems do you guys see with AEW?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like Tony Khan's like a kid at Christmas, right? Like, he rips open the box and he's like, "Oh, new toy." He doesn't know what he's going to do with it, and and then it feels like it falls by the wayside. And like you said, we're talking about MCMG, we're talking about Delta signing on, we're talking about Julia coming aboard, and there is this like patience. Like, WWE's really become about patience to the point where fans are clamoring of like, I'm getting tired of being fucking patient for you people. So I think that you're right. Like, I think it's just like, we signed them, throw them out there. And they're like, what are we going to do with them? And they're like, I don't know. You're like, fuck.
Well, and that's the thing is, I literally was, both of you say that. I was like, I agree 100% of this man's literally, it's just him collecting action figures. He doesn't know how to get anybody over. He doesn't know how to book any fucking talent. He doesn't know how to. We'll talk about some stories that he's done later, and I almost feel like that might have been, thankfully, the talent might have directed him in the way that it should have gone versus him having any fingerprints on it or anything. But we talked about it even when they signed Ricochet. You can have Ricochet and Ospreay, and there's nothing about that Tony Khan had any fucking hand in outside of he just signed them. We've seen that multiple times with AEW of it's just I have the coolest action figures, I have the newest action figures, I have the one with the kung fu grip and everything too.
I bet.
So that's all he does, and then I can just put you in matches and people will like it because these are matches they want to see. That's all it is. There's no actual creative thought behind anything. There's no, you would imagine in any sort of wrestling company or whatever. I've seen even when Nash was doing this whole little explaining booking, for WCW when you had Thunder taped and everything like that, if you have to plan for this and plan for that and down the road and everything. I'm sure none of that happens at any sort of creative meeting for Tony. It's just like he's just scrolling through like who's available. He's like a fantasy football owner just checking the players list right now of who can I grab as a free agent.
Yeah, and I don't want to use just because you mentioned other wrestling companies. I don't want to use just WWE as an example. TNA does the same thing with thinking out storylines for their potential signees. One of them I can point out is Nick Nemeth. We knew that Nick Nemeth had signed. There was a big signee. We didn't know it was Nick Nemeth, but we found out at Hard to Kill. He was immediately thrusted into the world championship picture for over 6 months until he won the title at Slammiversary, right? They thought out something with Nick Nemeth. Another signee in TNA, Ash by Elegance, came out Hard to Kill, immediately thrusted into the Knockouts world title picture, been there ever since, kind of. And now she's really in the thick of it with Jordan Grace. So it was like, it's just not WWE that has thought processes when it comes out to signing big talent. It's also TNA as well and other promotions.
Oh, I think that's a bit of what exemplifies and shows the big gaping glaring hole pause when it comes to AEW of like MDB's comment that KJ had pulled up of NXT gave Julia a spotlight, Tony Khan gave Ricochet a flashlight. You muted yourself.
You muted.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, again, it is what it is. We want more for Ricochet. I think Ricochet could do well. I think him coming to AEW made a lot of sense for his career. I think it was a good place for him to be, but now they got to highlight him. Now they got to push him. But I will point out the heel mark with the $5 super chat. Folks, make sure you get into those super chats. Support the channel. Help us pay for pay-per-views. And coming by the show to show some love and support. We appreciate that heel mark. It's really cool. Come on, guys. This is a prediction show or a hate show. Go back to watching TNA and do your own predictions. Show no hate. This isn't hate, Robert. That's the sad part for AEW fans. Is constructive criticism and wanting somebody that like a Ricochet or a Willow or a Statlander to do better is not hate. It's encouragement. It's us rooting for them as fans. No different than why is the coach not playing the number one quarterback? Why is the best running back sitting on the bench? This is no different. The fact that people take honest opinion as hate is very disappointing. And Robert, you've been around long enough to know better.
Oh, trust me. I think that there's plenty enough stuff coming down the pipeline here when it comes to matches on that card that we're going to be, praising and everything about here. So I think it's just getting more of the refuse out the way here. Initially.
Well, in that vein, Nick, the next
well, of course, the biggest clog in the drain.
The Young Bucks have decided they are going to take on the BCC. Wheeler, Yuta, and Claudio. Again, Claudio probably should be in a singles match. And Wheeler, Yuta, and Claudio just won trios titles. So now they're in a tag match. What?
Because we've got to put all the belts together and see, like I said, Claudio was already involved in some things, so he can't be there. But yeah, this is just the way for the Young Bucks, Matthew and Nicholas, to say that they went over somebody and that they defended the titles. And that they had this will probably still be a decent match. They'll say that they went over, Cesaro and Yuta, former Ring of Honor Pure Champion. Remember when we had hope for Yuta? Remember when we had Yuta take on Moxley, and it was like the pinnacle of Yuta's career at this point. And now we're here. So this is just the Young Bucks win this. Thank you for coming. Bob's your uncle. And next one.
Is there any chance there's an upset here?
Not unless we get a super surprise, like, and we could talk about this at some point of if we get any big surprises at all. And could we be Chicago's might be close to Detroit? We've heard that rumored for a while and everything. If we haven't seen it on NXT, we thought it could be there. What if it's here instead of there? So what if we get Motor City Young Bucks? And I mean, it wouldn't be an upset, but it'd still be interesting. It would be the sprinkle on a turd on this match.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting, that's for sure. And I mean, here, look at the graphic below us, guys. I mean, look at the tag teams that are not on this card. Like, look at the tag teams we do have that. I mean, again, there's not a lack of, these are only a handful, like some of the ones off the top of my head that I know. The Acclaimed had their shot, fair enough, FTR, but FTR is not mad that they got screwed out. Where's FTR been? Like, they weren't mad that they got screwed out of the chance to win it all out or all in. We see the Outrunners all the time doing jobs on Rampage. They're a hell of a tag team. Private Party's supposed to be getting a push. Nothing. The Righteous have been around forever doing nothing. And the Kingdom, well, they got Ring of Honor belts, but they don't do anything. And they're a hell of a veteran tag team that did wonders in TNA.
I was going to let Anthony go because all I was going to say is every time I see the Righteous now or hear about the Righteous, it makes me sad about what they could have been with the Wyatt Six and everything a little bit like beyond that. But I mean, the Outrunner should be there. But Anthony, go.
I think I don't want to just hate on AEW, but I think the tag team wrestling as a whole is struggling with no matter what company you're kind of watching out of the big three. But I don't know. I really wish it was somebody else, like an actual, like I know they are a tag team, the Blackpool Combat Club, but like the list that you just gave, like it could be one of those actual tag teams in AEW. And I guess that just kind of comes back to the lack of like not building enough stories around the tag teams in AEW.
And the Grizzled Young Vets did show up. Like, I'm surprised that there's been like
Heel Mark mentions that and everything. Yeah, they could have, should have, would have. Like, and it's not even just an AEW thing. Like Anthony said, tag team wrestling's down as a whole across every company, like in pro wrestling, period. Tag team wrestling is not anybody's strong suit right now, I feel.
Yeah, the only exception, I think the front runner right now, out of the majors are kind of TNA's doing it a little better than some.
Valid.
But I mean, again, the bar's not set so high. I feel like Trips is trying to do something with his, just not there yet. And AEW's is just kind of all over the place. And it's going to continue to be all over the place if the booking of the division is wonky.
But it's not really all over the place. It's like the same couple teams in rotation. Like every team that you mentioned, I really question how many actual tag team title shots they've had. Like everybody in that image, how many collectively? You probably got one collective tag team title shot at every team that you named versus like you said, we've already got Blackpool Combat Club that's already trios champions. The other teams that could have challenged were FTR, former champions. The Acclaimed, former champions, and that's really the whole division right there.
Fair enough.
That they use.
Yeah. So with that all being said, predictions on this match. Again, maybe we're not as excited as we should be, or as exciting as some others are, but predictions on this one.
Young Bucks.
Same, Young Bucks. Yeah.
75% of the chat agree with you, and so do I. 75% think the Bucks are going to take it. Yeah, it's just similar to Okada. I don't imagine that the Bucks or the Elite are going to drop the belts anytime.
Good on you 25% out there that were just praying for something to hope. I would hope to join your prayer circle one day, but right now I cannot be a believer. I don't think that's the case at this point.
Right. Fair enough. No. All right. So with all that being said, we're all going Bucks on that one. Here's an interesting match. Out comes the scarf.
Right. Yeah. Is this an oxymoron? I'm wearing a Punk shirt and a scarf. If I catch in flames, you know why.
How did you guys feel about the opening segment with Danny and MJF last night?
Low hanging fruit. We're you got Tiger Woods on a par 4 type of shit. Like you got him, Tiger Woods at putt, if anything, actually. It, there's things there, but this now just is it just MJF or is it the story he's being given? Because this isn't great. I'll say that.
Well, I missed it. I missed the opening. So,
Okay.
And the way that Nick is describing it, it wasn't all that great anyway.
We
so
were talking about hair pieces. We were talking about
hair plugs.
ears. We were just anything that no one could give a flying fuck about is what we were talking about. Like it's one of those. I don't know if it's Garcia. There was no thrusting that I noticed. No thrusting.
No, he stopped that as he should have.
And I want Daniel Garcia to really be this year's character. Like the kid's got something. There's a reason why WWE is throwing out there about him bringing him into NXT and everything like that. How valid that may be, take it or leave it, but there's something there. But this just feels like MJF's like phoning it in or something. Like I don't know. Like this just doesn't have that same oomph behind it when you get like an MJF, especially come off of MJF Ospreay. Are we? Yeah. Is
it partly because we were concerned about him kind of going the Americana and then dropping it instantly. Like it's interesting that way, but I wonder. It's one thing when MJF is telling CM Punk to go F himself, or when he's telling Tony Khan that he's an effing mark, or when he's doing that kind of stuff. You're like, oh shit, this guy's great. But when he's just kind of picking on Danny Garcia, you're like,
like it's punching down instead of even punching across or punching up. Like, why you got to pick on the slow kid? Like,
I was just about to say it's like him picking on a little brother or something. It's like the lead up to this, from what I can see, it hasn't been great anyway. And I'm not really a big fan of Daniel Garcia. I don't think he belongs in a main event scene. That's just me personally. But I don't know. I don't know. This whole thing since MJF came back has kind of been off. Like it's not turned up to where it's supposed to be. It's a little bit off.
To have a good villain in any story, you need a good hero, and vice versa. If you want a good hero, you need a good villain. And I think that's what feels lacklustery for MJF. I mean, he did the Ospreay thing, but he went that. If he was just, Nick, you're wearing the scarf. So for anyone who says you guys are just hating, the man's wearing the fucking scarf.
I'm a scarf carrying member of the devil worshippers and everything like that. 100%.
Right.
But I do overall think that this match will be good. Like Daniel Garcia is talented, 100%, and MJF is phenomenal in ring. It's just right now, this story, just whatever this has been since he's came back, is just not the fuck it. From literally when he low blowed and he low kicked Adam Cole to right now where we're at outside of 59, 58, that was the pinnacle of since MJF's been back. And unfortunately, I guess we were Icarus and flew too high to the sun because we've never come close to that shit again.
Right. Could Adam Cole return at All In?
He's still signed to the company?
Yes.
Yes, he is. He's just, is he healthy enough to walk, let alone, like, is he going to come out there, take a low blow, and just be injured again for the next 7 months?
Right. I'll put a challenge out there to all our viewers. And tomorrow when you guys come back to watch us, someone take the time. I want to know what they're more of. Is there more active wrestlers on the roster or inactive? Out of everybody that Tony Khan is paying, are there more people sitting at home or more people being used? I think the latter. I think less people are being used than are actually at home.
Well, we had like Jamie Hayter and shit like that come back, so it might have tipped the scales the other way and everything like that. We had a lot of ones that were gone for a while are starting to come back here. So
hopefully that helps. But even Jamie Hayter got brought back on a pre-show and hasn't. I mean, it is what it is. Predictions on this match.
MJF.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, no, you're kind of glitchy on man. I'm taking MJF. I would hope so. I would assume so. I know. Garcia may need the win for this because he's the babyface in this story and all of that. But God damn it, it's MJF. Like, if he fucking loses this, I swear to God, I swear to God.
I'm going Daniel Garcia. I think Tony
Really?
Khan loves him. I think this will be the first of a couple matches. I think this is not the end of this feud. And I think in an attempt to elevate Danny, MJF's going to go under. That's what I think is going to happen.
So you just want to fight. That's what it is. You just want to fight. I'm going to have to see you outside.
51% of the chat are taking MJF. That's how close this one is.
Fuck me.
Yeah.
That's because they haven't booked MJF well. That's not because they booked Garcia well.
True.
That's because they fucked up MJF. That's not because they've done well with Garcia. Let that record be let that be known.
Right. Is AEW trying to make Garcia ex Golden Boy Sammy Guevara? Got that vibe to it when like Sammy was getting all those wins. We couldn't figure out why.
Well, Sammy's now getting wins out there with, Dustin.
Well, he's not allowed on the big show.
He's just waiting until, Mercedes needs another ankle injury or something like that.
Right. All right. So everybody going kind of the same way on that one. Or well, actually, I'm going different than everybody. So Danny Garcia, I am convinced is going to win this one. The way they've built it up, especially because go home show, Danny
you don't know if he's still going to stay with the company.
Rumor is they're going to pay him extremely high to keep him. So
enough that he can buy his childhood home.
Well, we're going to get there very soon. Another match on the docket, and I know Anthony's been eager for this one, so we'll let him kick this one off. But Mercedes
got to do that away.
And Shida.
So I asked this question in the chat last night, and this is geared towards Deonna Purrazzo. I don't understand why Deonna Purrazzo was not involved in the initial fatal 4-way match to get to this match at All Out. I as a fan of Deonna Purrazzo have been kind of really distant from her work in AEW because of how I feel like it hasn't been booked very well. Now, her feud with Thunder Rosa, I thought was pretty good. I saw some of the matches and they were great, but I feel like this was a moment that you could have put Deonna Purrazzo in to kind of showcase what she can do on a grander stage. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not hating on Shida. I really like Shida, but I really feel like this was a Deonna Purrazzo moment. I don't know.
Deonna's new vignettes are awesome. Deonna's excellent. Deonna's a star. She's outstanding. You brought her in to utilize her. I don't know what their plan is. The vignettes are really cool, but you got a valid point. And again, it kind of goes back to kind of some of the other things we talked about. What really surprised me last night was the overwhelming love for Shida in that building. She was substantial. They're not even booing Mercedes at this point. They're just like, she's there.
Is there a new definition? I know everybody uses the term go away heat or X-Pac heat. Do we have a new standard, a new gold standard, a CEO level of a standard for go away heat at this point with Mercedes Mone of Shida, who shows up twice a month if you're lucky, who, by the way, stole Solo Sikoa's drip for...
it looked that was a nice homage, and she looked excellent.
Yeah, she's the tribal chief, We got the CEO versus the tribal chief, but Mercedes has she is the biggest case of really thinking you're here when you're really there and everything, and having someone that will gaslight you to think you're there. Because what the fuck? If Shida, who, like I said, is once a month, twice a month, if you're lucky, shows up for a week on the job and everything, is getting the babyface reaction, getting a hero's welcome in Chicago, of all places, to your millionaire CEO that just gets silence. It's crazy. You fucked up. You fucked up at that point. You have fucked up. Critical error. You fucked up.
It furthers my argument that if you're just out there acting, you're going to not connect to the crowd. And anybody that's tried in any company to act like a wrestler, they get weeded out pretty quick. And that's what some of the people like the Bucks, Mercedes, they feel like they're acting and they're not good actors. Instead of trying to be real, be authentic, be genuine, and nobody buys her. Everyone feels like everything she does is made up. Nobody's buying into it. And that's why, like, people are dying for Shida to beat Mercedes.
Just to end the reign of terror. Sorry.
I talked about this with one of my friends. He asked me a really good question. He was like, did Mercedes lose her sting from leaving the WWE? I feel like she was better under the WWE umbrella. And I'm only saying that because I feel like her promos were written for her. When she's on the mic here, it's like my ears are bleeding. And this is coming from somebody that used to be a big Sasha Banks fan. And now I'm like, I don't want to see you on TV, like, at all, like, period. Just wrestle. And then that's it. Please don't talk or have somebody talk for you. At this point, she needs a Paul Heyman to talk for her because it's terrible to hear her talk. Period. It's the same thing every week. And then she wants to end it with saying the B word, thinking it's going to, get the crowd live. And it's like, no. I don't know. I'm not into what she's doing. And again, I've said this several times on stream. Out of the two people that walked out that day, Trinity was the bigger star that nobody really thought of. Like Trinity became the bigger star out of both of y'all that walked out that same day. I don't know.
Yeah, and Trinity was smart. She went to TNA. She became a champion. She put in the work, put everyone on notice that, look, I can really fucking do this. And this is why I was mad, because I really can do this. And then she made her return. And again, there may be some mixed reviews to her return, but she feels like a big deal when she's on TV. And I think that's what WWE does a little bit better, in the sense of they amplify your strength, they minimize your weakness. And we've seen a lot of, I mean, look at Liv. If you compare Liv Morgan and Sasha Banks in ring, I think they're not really that far apart. But as far as, look how Liv's presented and getting all the heat, and then look how Sasha's presented, nothing, dead silence.
Right.
All I'm gonna say with Mercedes Mone is, I never had creative control, brother, and I never used it once ever. Quote AJ. That's what,
all right,
what that motherfucker is.
Right. What is our prediction for this one?
Mercedes.
I want to take Shida, but it's gonna be Mercedes, I assume.
Would you say, Nick?
I said Mercedes. I all hellfire and brimstone will fucking unleash here of if Mercedes does not win this. If the sacrifice of the championship is not fed to Mercedes Mone and her ego, AEW will cease to be. She will just suck them into the black hole that is her soul.
Yeah.
But
no, and I mean, again, I'm a little surprised that Hater's not maybe heading this direction, or, Britt Baker just lost it all in and went poof. I know it's only been a couple weeks, but poof, like no television.
Yeah, what is with that? Like, you got suspended and then you lost in a shitty match, and then you just go back the fuck away again.
Right. Maybe she's getting bitter that she's getting criticized online. That's what happened last time.
Sucks to suck. It's a little bit though of, could it be that now that we've got Papa Paul on the other side, we've got Chef Sean and everything like that, maybe once Adam Cole is healed up or what have you, of once Britt Baker just happens to fade off there, of they could cross them enemy lines.
I can see Adam Cole going back to WWE. I guess I think Britt Baker was there as an unknown talent at one point.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
So I think going back there for her, being in the world of NXT, will probably make her. She's not a bad wrestler.
Better.
but I think it'll make her way better, and
Yeah.
then she can really kind of hit the ground running on the main roster if she decides to do that.
But
I
does
think
she
Britt's
come
a
in with an
star.
attitude? Sorry.
I think Britt's a star. And again, the attitude thing is you are only allowed to have an attitude to an extent. It all depends on who's in charge allowing that behavior. And again, if she has a bad attitude, she'll work her way out of the company. People said the same thing about Punk. Punk's a cancer. Look at Mr. fucking Company Man now. Kissing the babies and shaking hands. And I think there's a lot there. Now, a lot of people said, oh, like WWE would like bring her in. Da, da, da. She's going to NXT, guys. She's not going to the main roster. She's not going right to the top.
Oh, yeah, no.
They need to train her because her matches have sucked. The only match people talk about with her is a street fight. And they do the gimmick matches to cover up for a lack of wrestling skill.
Right.
But
I don't think there's many. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say before we move on, the only thing I can think of that they may do with Britt Baker is do something similar what they did with Jade Cargill, and she's not in NXT, but she trains for months and then moves to the main roster. That's the only difference. But I think NXT has to be the priority if she does, jump ship.
True.
I think you're gonna be hard pressed.
Go ahead, Nick. Go ahead. It was your turn.
Yeah, that doesn't come into WWE and doesn't go to NXT. Like even we talked about Ricky Starks, who I feel sooner rather than later should be showing up, but he's going to NXT.
Right.
These guys aren't going to the main roster.
Now, they've banned Camille from ringside on this one, which I don't love because Camille's not been around long, and I think it's too soon to ban her from ringside. And she hasn't had a whole. It's not like she's been fucking with Shida, so you really need to pull her out of this. But generally, when you pull away somebody and the heel champion feels all alone, that's when another person shows up we didn't see coming. So I almost anticipate, and we'll see if I'm right on Saturday, but I anticipate somebody joining the CEO company. Well, I don't know what she's the CEO of. Whatever she runs, I think she's getting another hand.
Who, though? Like, do you have a suggestion? An idea? A spoiler?
The Renegade Twins. I honestly don't know. Who's out there not doing shit right now? I don't know.
Mandy Rose. But Mandy Rose would not play second fiddle.
No,
well, it's not. Well, because I saw her at the fucking combine for wrestlers and everything like that, and she was getting the itch, which that's just. Honestly, I've seen some people react some sort of way with that and everything. I thought it was just fun as shit just to see some shit like that because it was wrestlers letting fucking loose. It wasn't, you saw some that would kind of take it serious, some that wouldn't, and you just let people have fucking fun. Like wrestling's supposed to be fucking fun. Remember that.
Especially when I saw Ash by Elegance Jordan Grace. And the collar and elbow tie-up, she won it. And I was kind of shocked there.
Do you know who seemed upset in one of the clips I saw? Moose. When he lost the arm wrestling match, he just walked out. He just turned and left. He just walked through the curtain. Riddick Moss there killing it. Jake Hager was doing his best.
It's again, people forget wrestling's supposed to be fucking fun.
Yeah. The Renegade Twins fit perfectly. Damien agrees with my stupid
shit. No one gives a fuck about them. Respectfully, disrespectfully, no one gives a fuck.
I made that up.
People, honestly, who would it be that's a free agent? No, the only one, and I'm going to say this, and she might be on the House of Glory card that we might poke an eye at here in the next 5 minutes or so, just saying, would be like a Megan Bain. Or anything of another woman that's close to, has history with AEW and is close to the same stature, same size. She's the fucking, Wonder Woman to, Camille's, goddamn Terminator type shit and everything.
I think
the man's spitting bars and is muted as shit. I was like, silence from the crowd, I guess. No one liked what I had to say, apparently.
I gotta stop hitting mute. I was just reading Damien saying Mandy Rose returning to WWE. That remains to be seen. yeah, who's going to be scared? But again, as little lackeys, they might work, and that's the only reason why I threw them out. But I think Camille needs to look like a little more of a badass as we move forward with this. She hasn't really displayed herself as a big threat. She spent more time running away from Britt than fighting Britt. So
she's had a couple weeks though. I mean, I know it's not been great out of the gate, but you know, maybe she catches a stride.
Right. Tessa Blanchard. I'm not even clicking on that.
Nope.
All right. So the chat went shockingly 33% for Shida, 66%. That is wishful thinking.
Sorry, you said the first number first, so I popped like that was the higher number. So I was like, yeah, Shida. Fuck. I can't do math.
No. Yeah. Again, I think the 33% on Shida taking this. Again, if you follow the trends and you want people to tune into your shows, Shida's a good bet because people are tuning out for Mercedes. They were going nuts for Shida, but I digress.
Like Tez.
Next match on the docket. I cannot wait for this fucking match. So I know there's been some heat on the card so far, or heat on the builds, but this I can't wait for. Pac deserved it all out or all in. He politely waited till all out, but let's go.
Yeah, I think this match might be match of the night at All Out. I really like Pac. I think you say it as Pac. I don't know. And I really like Will Ospreay too. Both phenomenal wrestlers, right? I think this match could potentially be match of the night, and this is one of the ones I'm most excited to see.
Right.
If they actually let this match do what it can do, this will be match of the night. If not in close contention, this will be again another one of those peripheral challengers for match of the year and everything, because this has the potential to blow the fucking doors down. I was sad when Pac left WWE because they didn't want to push him past the cruiserweight division and everything like that, and now he's carried on that whole persona, that same talent, and now you get him versus Ospreay. This is the same type of caliber of match if we got a Ricochet versus an Ospreay. If this cooks, I'm good. I'm done. I've had enough. I'm full. If this doesn't, though, I feel a little disappointed.
I don't think they're going to let us down. I really hope they don't let us down.
MJF and Ospreay did, so I've got buyer's remorse a little bit.
Well, and again, I think the reason why Ospreay and MJF at All In let us down is because they had an epic match 2 weeks before All In. These two haven't done that, so I'm hoping that they haven't set a bar that they got to jump over. Which he
had an epic match 3 weeks before All Out and everything with Ospreay versus MJF. We're going that way.
No, but I mean, we saw MJF first. So I mean, again, we're kind of stuck on it, and I think Pac and Ospreay have a chance here to just absolutely blow the doors off the building. So I'm looking forward to this one. Two of the best talents you have. Pac is a guy that could be a world champion at some point. Yeah. You got Ricochet in the mix. He wants to get involved with Ospreay. Pac told him to shut up and wait his turn. I've already been bumped once. So yeah, I mean, I can't wait for this match.
Pac is one of my guys that is so underrated. Honestly, like I said, has been underrated since he was 205 live champ, and he turned heel, was like the little fucking gremlin of that shit and everything. Yeah. And he constantly, he's just been used, and then he disappears and everything like that. Like we talked about Takeshita earlier. Where the fuck is Shane Taylor? That's the big problem with AEW talent, is they'll be here and then they're gone, and they come back and you hope they have the same momentum.
And they rarely do. They rarely do.
No, yeah.
And my bigger concern is if Pac, which I don't anticipate Pac winning this, what happens with him after this. So we will see. But this has all the makings of a huge thing. Listen, this is coming up in the chat a lot, so we're going to deviate because I got to address it. KJ, there's some big news for Raw. I can officially confirm that Canadian legend Bret Hart, the Hitman Hart, will be attending the season premiere of Raw. So this Monday, Bret Hart will be there.
Is it in Calgary?
Was that not announced earlier? Because I kind of felt like I knew that all day.
It might have. I didn't know.
I wasn't checking on Bret Hart's whereabouts. I guess it wasn't my day to watch him, so I don't know.
Yeah,
that's why I'm asking if it's in Calgary.
One of the wrestling news sites break that earlier today. I want to say it might have been Fightful. So I kind of can't already knew that, but
and then C Money instantly comes back with not if Goldberg has anything to say about it.
So the Monday Night Raw is coming from Calgary, Alberta. And it just makes sense. But Bret, the Hitman Hart, amazing.
Yeah, is this where we get a natty return or something? There, it's in Calgary,
remember, right? Yeah, maybe. Drew is confronting Bret. Remember, Punk is a huge public fan, so it'd be awesome if Bret took a Claymore.
Does Cash or Dax just show up out of the crowd just to like punch Drew in the face and everything at the Hall of Fame?
Right.
But yeah, with this match should be phenomenal. 100%. It would be almost insane if Pac won it, and then they use that to put Ospreay towards the main title. Could you imagine Danielson's last match versus William Ospreay for the AEW World Championship?
Not happening.
Could happen.
I would bet my left nut it's not happening.
Bro, and honestly, I might win your left nut then, because the way Tony Khan's booking, it's fucking 50-50 odds at best, my guy.
Yeah, no,
because I think they know. I changed the questions.
We got you got Jack Perry coming up, you got Darby coming up, and I do think there's a Nigel McGuinness match coming up. I don't think Ospreay's going
but you got Moxley calling Jack Perry a beautiful human being and shit like that. So it's all sorts of weird.
Yeah, that didn't make any sense last night. The Moxley actually hurt. He did something really cool, and they did something really uncool the week later. It was really unfortunate.
What is John Moxley?
Yeah, no shit. So, final predictions on this one. We're all going Ospreay, I believe.
Yeah, it's definitely Ospreay.
I don't know if the chat's just trying to mess with us, but only 61% took Ospreay.
It could be close. Could be close. Of like I said, if you have Ospreay lose and then you project him, you push him towards the main title.
Yeah, but you've already amped up the fact that Ricochet is waiting in the wings. So again, I think that's like because
but you have Darby. You said Darby, and you've got this and that.
Darby's fighting in the Grand Slam
for the main title, and we still going to have Jack Perry versus Bryan Danielson later tonight. He just circumvented the line.
Well, Jack Perry, because they wrote it in the fact that because he's elite, blah blah blah. Darby,
I got theories.
Darby won a contender match, so that's why he's waiting. And I think that's what Tony's making that mistake. And you saw it with Pac going into All In, because you're pre-booking all these number one contenders. They forgot and accidentally had to bump Pac because you're you were mad.
Remember that rating system?
No,
that rating system and all that of the actual keeping track of records.
I don't remember.
No.
All right, boys. Next match. This one. Actually, where is? Do I have it? Well, we'll come back to it. Next match. Lights out match. I think I missed one. But Adam Page. This was all the buzz last night into today. House Gate is happening. Swerve Strickland, Adam Page, lights out, non-sanctioned or unsanctioned cage match. So all the gimmicks. This match should fucking burn.
All of the puns. I literally choked on all of the puns you were just trying to feed me right there with that, because 100% though, this is the feud in AEW. Like, this is now up there as one of, if not the best feuds in AEW. I mentioned it before on here. I've heard it compared to their Rock Austin. This is their Hangman versus Swerve is AEW's feud at this point. And God damn it, if it doesn't fucking just kind of feel right. And it works. I know we had people sitting there playing, Housegate of I'm gonna sit there and Gil Grissom of see if you see where the scattered paint and everything, the dried paint over here, matches up perfectly with the house he set on fire. It doesn't matter at this point. This is just fucking awesome. At this point, it's these motherfuckers hate each other, and you believe they hate each other.
Right.
And that's the best thing about pro wrestling. If you really believe like they don't fucking like each other and you want to see them beat the ever-loving piss, tar, and leather out of each other. Like, to me, this is why I've said this could be almost a one-match card, because this is 100% what sold me. This is what I care about. I was literally, even before we went live tonight, rewatching the Texas Death Match with my wife and everything like that, and showing her the segment to where Hangman burned down Swerve's whole house and everything like that, which kind of funny that we almost kind of all missed that. Like, that should have been a setup, a tease of man buys back his childhood home just to get it burned down.
Yeah, I mean, I was a little bit like, shit, they should have done like the look, I bought my home, and then the following week burned it down. Like in the same episode, it feels like we did this to do this, but that's just being like
that's you're
right.
picking
No, but
over
again,
hairs, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's a little bit like shitty storytelling. It's simplistic storytelling in that regard. But the build-up's been good. I was mad at the internet, to be honest, about like even last night. A few people were like, "I think it's a green screen." I'm like, I don't give a fuck. It's good. Like it felt like Randy Orton burning down the Wyatt fucking shack. Like, I mean, to me, that's what we're looking at. What do you think, Anthony?
I think the IWC just overthinks things sometimes. Just be in the moment. Just be in the moment. And the moment was that house burning down. And I think the sickest picture on the internet right now is Hangman sitting in his father's chair. While the house is
that's an album cover. That is the I sat there and even put that on Instagram because that shit's hard as fuck. Like that's just you could use that for everything and anything. Yep. Like that's just the best wrestling picture.
But yeah, like last night was one of those moments where you as a wrestling fan, just be in the moment. We don't have to break down and decipher everything that is happening. That was one of those times where just be there, just watch it in amazement of what story they just told with Hangman buying his not Hangman, but Swerve buying his house back, his childhood home back, and Hangman burning it down to a pile of ashes. Like that's like I didn't even see that live. I saw it when I woke up this morning. I was like, dang it, I should have kept watching.
Yeah, no, I mean, I wish it was more of it. It was like it was such a good part of the show. And you know what? Hangman's come under criticism. I know people didn't like, were not happy with him through some of the Punk stuff. There is something with Hangman. There is, when he's this guy, there is an edge to him. When he was the guy back in Ring of Honor that was just fucking with everybody, and he was screwing up the whole faction and the elite and messing with the Bucks and breaking things off from the Bullet Club or fractions of the Bullet Club. He is not an untalented man. Swerve and him somehow have just had this chemistry. Like Nick said, there's a vile hatred between these two men. And what, I agree with both of you of the visual of him sitting in that chair and the place just ablaze was so good. And again, for I know our buddy Robert was in the chat earlier who was like, oh, the hate. No, we love the good stuff. We love the good stuff. This was good stuff. I don't care if it was the fake house, wrong house. I don't care.
Yeah, wrong house, roadhouse. I don't give a flying fuck about whose house it was, because this was phenomenal. And this to me, is this the most and best AEW feud? Because Swerve, yes, former WWE guy and everything like that, but most don't really certify any of his top stuff with him being in WWE. Hangman's been an AEW guy through and through, and this to me has just scratched all the nostalgia itches while still being super entertaining and super engaging. Like when Hangman was cutting that whole promo when he's walking to the house and dropping gasoline and everything, it very much reminded me of Jake the Snake Roberts of I'm saying everything really calmly and really softly, so you're going to pay attention to everything that I'm saying. And this whole feud has been just hell for leather back and forth. So this to me is the pinnacle AEW feud, I would say.
Right.
100%. And
I
it is.
think,
Oh, go ahead,
okay.
Anthony.
I was gonna say, I think if you ask me at the end of 2024, what are the two top feuds coming out of AEW for that year, it would be Hangman and Swerve and Mariah May and Tony Storm, easily off the top of my head.
You muted yourself again.
There hasn't been many others deep, like with deep rivalry. Like we get like the spot fest or just like the indie booking, but there's not a lot of like ongoing storytelling. So yeah, for my money, I think you're bang on, Anthony.
I think this though to me is, like I said, and I know it's at times mentioned a little bit like hyperbole but this is AEW's Rock Austin. This is, you see these two square up a little bit and it's, you think you expect, I see you with the face, KJ. So would you like to present a better feud that is more cantankerous, more when I see what's on site has been more at that level?
Like
we've seen MJF and Punk,
this is like here, like this is like Jeff Hardy and
I'm saying for them. I'm saying for them.
For them, yes.
For them, this is their, especially in 5 years. This is 100% their feud upon feuds. This is, I wouldn't mind, just a Chicago background and them two of, you think you're special, you do.
All right. This is more Rock and Mankind. No,
yeah,
it's like triple. Like it's like Hunter Hearst Helmsley. I see Hunter Hearst Helmsley versus Mankind. Like it's that mid lower.
Is this Hunter versus Dwayne? Like IC ladder match? Like who's supposed to be babyface? Who's supposed to be heel?
Yeah, I don't want to take the piss out of this. Swerve sold the shit out of the place being burned down. I thought they did it well with playing the music and I had like we were laughing in the chat where like the minute they showed the house, I'm like, burn it down, and people were like, burn it down. And then when he didn't come out for the first entrance, I was like, holy shit, this is gonna happen. Like, sure enough. And again, one of the best things AEW's ever done. I don't give a fuck. Like again, it's cinema. Like, are people sitting at home being like, those aren't real dragons she's riding? Like, what are we fucking doing, people? Enjoy the fucking show.
Yeah, is that a highlight reel for AEW? And that's 100%, I think, even cements of this is their focus. This is where they should be aiming here.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's one of those things that will get people talking. It's he's got a gun from back in the day. It's the house invasion angles. It's Randy Orton burning down the Wyatts. I mean, again, beautiful visual, right? That's the shit.
Right.
That is the shit that makes people go, oh shit, what's happening here? And it, again, for the fans that say, well, we don't need the stories. It's the stories that are selling more than anything else, guys.
Right.
Absolutely.
All right, who we going with?
Fuck.
This is hard.
Yeah, this is Rochambeau here a little bit.
I'm pretty confident in who I want.
Really? I feel they both kind of need the win. And again, this is the most AEW fight forever, I felt. Like, we've seen Hangman go with Kenny. We've seen Hangman go with Moxley. We've seen Danielson do shit. We've seen MJF do shit. This is the most, like, AEW just fight forever. This is AEW's Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. And I know as a Canadian, I might get slapped for that. But I don't know who to pick here.
I'm gonna take Swerve. I'm gonna take Swerve. As much as I'm wearing a Hangman shirt right now.
Religious.
Fuck it. I'm the chat went 68% Hangman, and I'm going Hangman as well. Hangman hasn't had a whole lot of success. He's been kind of floundering. So I feel like you just got to keep riding this unhinged, fuck it, I'm gonna murder everybody Hangman page. Because if he can beat Swerve and then you push him in the direction of if this Hangman went after a Danielson, I'd be all up for that fight. Because he is like, this is different. This is edgy. This is the guy that's gonna push.
That I literally, as soon as you said it, I was like, yeah. So I'm doing the Jack Nicholson. Yes. Because either man, comes out strong out of this and everything. Swerve, I think, more can take the L here. Hangman needs fucking something.
It's true.
And especially, he's finally kind of found it. You can't even exactly say what it is, but when it comes to Hangman, he's finally found it. And you really kind of need to ride this. And that's not even a bad show. Like, Danielson versus Hangman, that's, what sends Danielson off in that sweet good night, perhaps.
Hangman shows up at like Danielson's house and starts fucking with Bree. Like, let's go.
Man's unhinged. So.
All right. That's pretty solid. Yeah, folks, we got this one on tap too. So Danielson will be taking on Jack Perry. I'll be honest, and people are going to be mad at me for saying this. I hate it. I'm so mad that this is the case. There is so much talent. Why is Jack Perry not fighting Daniel Garcia for the TNT title and Danielson fighting a main eventer? Jack Perry is already like to pit your champions together makes no fucking sense. And even last night they did something really good, and I was cheering them, and then they fucked it up at the end. They didn't even sell it properly.
Because Jack Perry got suspended by a disciplinary committee headed by Bryan Danielson. So he's getting his vengeance. He's getting back his pound of flesh with this, match versus Bryan Danielson. Plus, I think he's actually the last person to pin Danielson too as well. But I know that there's no story for this. I'm just trying to give me a reason, matchmaker. Give me a
I actually might have that reason for you, Nick. If this is truly Bryan Danielson's retirement tour ish, maybe he wanted to face Jack Perry during his retirement tour. That's how I kind of came to the conclusion of this, because I hate it. I hate this. I hate this altogether, but maybe this was one of those I want to fight Jack Perry on my way out the door.
But why?
I don't know.
Could this be
Bryan Danielson? I don't know.
Jonathan Moxley gets involved or anything of Mr. This is not your company anymore, and he screws over Danielson, because like I mentioned before, if he sits there and just randomly calls Jack Perry a handsome man, he wants to talk to Darby and all of that. We've got Christ, why am I being terrible at names tonight? Roddy Strong's wife. You don't know me.
Marina
Shafir, thank you. Out there just laying out everybody. So could this be, Moxley screws the BCC?
I mean, again, I can't imagine Danielson dropping a title to Jack Perry. I can't imagine Jack Perry holding your two, not just your TNT title, but also your World Championship. You might as well just fucking put the other holes in the Titanic and let it fucking sink at that point. Yeah, no, I mean, at the end of the day, I think this is going to be a really good match. I think this match is going to surprise people. Yeah. When they go ding, ding, Danielson's going to get the best out of Jack Perry. Danielson's going to work Jack Perry. So the match is going to turn out. Yeah, the storytelling and the booking, whatever. And there wasn't last night, they did the perfect thing. They slide in the ring. They get a hold of Danielson. They're about to just drill him. And it would have got a lot of heat for Perry going into Saturday. Nope. The BCC, who never hangs around with Danielson anymore, comes running out, and the heels run away. They got no heat. None. And nobody in that building was cheering for the Bucks or booing the Bucks. They're not getting any, because you do shit like that all the heels are always running away. Where are the mean, angry, holy fuck, this guy's about to kill? Where are the Debos? Where are the bullies? Where are the big guys that just, oh shit, he's coming, tuck your chain? There's none.
They have another 3 letters in front of them.
Fact. Right.
They're locked up in another cage. But I really find that interesting. Now you've said that, and it makes me think about it of this could really deliver as a match.
I think it will.
If Jack Perry kind of goes with it.
I think he will. I think the internally there's so much respect for Danielson. Danielson's the guy that, like, the
Well,
AEW
Danielson's a company guy too. He's like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
do whatever the fuck I need to
Right.
do to get
Yeah.
feud anywhere.
and Tony's already like put Danielson in the will. Like, if if I die, the company,
The company becomes yours.
like, so yeah, I think Danielson's going to get the most out of Perry. I think this match is going to overachieve. Again, I just feel like we talked about the ratings at the start of the show, 660, whatever. The average of in and around somewhere between 650 and 700 for the last while now. I think a big part is because Jack Perry's fighting a world champion. Daniel Garcia is fighting the company's biggest heel. You got a lot of mid to lower mid card guys. Like, it's not two stars fighting. And like, people who get mad about, like, oh, well, look at the Bash at Berlin. Well, it's Cody versus Kevin fucking Owens. Like, it's Drew McIntyre versus Punk in a strap match. Like, those are big names. It wasn't CM Punk versus Umberto.
Good old Berto.
But again, for selling tickets, not the best booking. The match, I think, is going to overachieve. I'm praying it overachieves.
No, I do think the match is going to be great. I just don't like that it's Jack Perry, but I think I'm kind of in agreement with you, KJ, that they're going to deliver. And like you said, Bryan Danielson brings out the best in people, right? And I think he's going to bring out the best in Jack Perry on Saturday at All Out.
Yeah.
Is that the main event, or is Hangman Swerve?
Oh, it's already been
the main
announced.
event?
It's already been announced because it's a lights out cage match. So it's going to be after the show. It's unsanctioned. So the last thing we see on Saturday
Is that, well, I didn't know that they had officially announced it as the main event, but it's still, I know, is that just like a fucking gimmick on a gimmick on a gimmick? Like,
a lot of gimmicks.
you had like
A lot of gimmicks.
matches stipulated worse than a fucking cage match, and already a cage match is no DQ. So how is it unsanctioned? So then we shouldn't be able to watch it because you're not sanctioning it. So what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Like,
It's not the first time we did a lights out match, but I think you either do an unsanctioned lights out match or you do a cage match. You don't need both, right? Because then you don't need the cage because they can do whatever the fuck they want. Like, if it's unsanctioned and one of them escapes the cage, do they win? Well, no, it's unsanctioned.
It's crazy when you put
the Texas Deathmatch bullshit again. Just do that.
It's crazy when you put logic to it, because KJ, I wouldn't even think about
That's
it like
fine,
that.
'cause they
Like,
don't.
it's unsanctioned, lights out. So what happens when they do escape the cage?
Like, just like, if you escape the cage and win, or like, again, it's a weird concept. Like, you don't need the cage in an unsanctioned match because essentially the whole building is your playground.
Yeah.
Fair enough. You're going to shove them in the cage. I'm still pumped for the match, but as far as I understand it, Nick, technically, the Danielson match or the match before it will be the main event. Then the show's going to end. Good night, everybody. And then it's going to continue. And we're going to get the lights out. They've done it before. And this is...
So they're going to fight in front of nobody. And so the attendance will change. No way. Because, like, what the fuck? Just why do you need to overcomplicate simple fucking things? It's like... They're fucking Terrence Howard with trying to figure out, 0 plus 0 equals 1 and shit like that. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, no, math is math. This shit works. Like, what? Lights out, steel cage match? Like, so the whole show is going to end. The whole show is going to end.
Yeah,
and then we're just going to have dude who showed up and they had to change addresses and was taunting, baby in the crib and everything, versus dude who burnt childhood home, and that's just kosher and everything. Which, by the way, I still think that this is the best AEW feud of all time, but it's just, could you please at least make it fucking to where a match I want to watch? Like, palatable at least?
Well, and again, listen, I understand. So here's the defense: is you throw all this at it because it is
they threw it at defense and it didn't stick.
Again, it is a bit of gimmick on gimmick on gimmick, but again, if you would have said like, shit, this has been so insane, we need something like a lights out match, I'm in. And I'm fine with it. Like, it's just, again, they went big. They went all the things, right? And again, it is what it is, but at least it's epic enough that you go, this is the blow off. This is the end of this feud, at least for now. It has to end. And that is going to be the most interesting part.
If you just did straight unsanctioned match, I think I'd be better than the fucking cage match. Because like even you brought up of like, well, there's rules to a cage match still, so that does exist. Like, and you don't have a Hell in a Cell, so you can't do something like that to where then the cage match rules don't exist. So,
maybe it's just the fact they just want to confine this match into a cage, but also have it a lights out match, meaning if they escape the cage, the match still continues. Maybe that's what I'm trying to gather here.
Oh, and I know they're going to be all over the place. They're going to get tables, they're going to get weapons, like they might burn the ring down. But essentially, to add that, again, I think in Tony's mind, it's like, ooh, if we tell people that this match is going to be so violent that we can't endorse it as a company, then it makes it even more intense. But what he didn't realize was the storytelling got us there, Tony. All you had to do was like the final showdown between Paige and Swerve will be in a cage. Perfect. I think in Tony's mind, this is like, oh my God, it's going to be that bad. So it is what it is. The match is still going to be what it is. There's still going to be people in the building. It's not like everyone's going home. I don't recall a lights match ever not being at the end of a show. So it'd be really weird to do like a lights out match in the middle. Like,
yeah, well, and to me, it's you don't even need to add the extra stipulations. Like you'd have just had a fucking last man standing and everything like that. That's the biggest issue to me. If you're putting hats on hats, you're adding shit that doesn't need to be added on to. Like Hangman versus Swerve has you've struck fucking gold with it. Honestly, Tony, all due respect to you, that is 100% the best feud that you've found, you've done, you've built anything in AEW. You don't need to keep adding bullshit on top of bullshit on top of bullshit with it. It's already good. Sometimes when you get a good steak, you don't need to add fucking 17 layers of seasoning on it. Sometimes it's just good as it is.
You don't need to put
the whole, Chris Farley, I could get a good look at a T-bone by sticking my head up on Cal's ass, but I'd rather take the butcher's word for it.
Right.
Just, it is what it is. Yeah. It's good. Just let it be good.
Yeah, just again, it shows a little bit of lack of confidence in what he's actually doing. But in all due credit, it is a good storyline. I don't care if they burn down the wrong house. I don't care if they burn down a city block. I don't care if it was like it was good. It was really good TV last night. We had to dredge through a lot of nothingness last night, and that was a great way to go off the air. So yeah, this is going to be very interesting as far as that whole show goes. But folks, that is all the predictions. We are looking forward to All Out this Saturday, live 6:30 p.m.
I have a last question if I can sneak it in. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I didn't know we were that close to the line. Do we get a here comes the money? Here we go. Here comes the money. We don't get a Shane McManus?
Not now. Even if he is involved with Moxley's just getting started. If you kind of roll that out already, you kind of put the cart before the horse. I don't expect Shane McMahon at all. I don't know if anybody expects anybody. Like, is there any expectation of other rumors of who could be there?
Yeah, not that I know of. And I think I said this like some streams ago that I don't really care about Shane McMahon showing up regardless. So it does nothing for me if he shows up or if he doesn't. I won't even tweet about it. That's how I don't care about Shane McMahon showing up.
I will say the one rumor that I've heard of that Shane McMahon shows up and is the GM of AEW Collision. That is currently the rumor I have heard. And funny enough, it's not from Meltzer either.
That's fucking brutal. Brutal. If you bring Shane in and you make him in charge of fucking Collision, there's no point. That's why I don't believe it. I don't believe Shane's coming back. I don't believe that he's going to be involved. I just don't I don't expect Shane would have to be very confident that the legacy he's already left behind stands in whatever he does with if he decides to go AEW. The idea that he could kind of do what a Jericho has done and do what others have done, he doesn't need the money. It's one thing if you're Sasha Banks or Ricochet and Tony's offering you $8, $9, $10 million. What are you going to offer Shane that's really going to tickle his fan? Oh, Shane, I'll give you $15 million a year. I'll give you $20 million. He's like, bro, do you know who my dad is? Like, my dad's got.
You want to get exonerated from that Netflix documentary? You want to do some shit that might make you not seem so bad?
Yeah,
that might be the only thing if you want to wash your name of that shit.
Right. But yeah, I mean, again, Shane showing up. I thought maybe if you're going to do it, All In might have made sense, but I think now if people are hoping and speculating he's somehow involved in this Moxley gang, then you have time on Shane showing up because you need Moxley to assemble the forces, explain himself a little better, and then the mastermind behind it all steps in. So they're not there yet. Now, will they fuck it up? Maybe, but I don't anticipate it on this one.
So was Moxley just assembling like the fucking shoot injured forces of Darby, Moxley, Marina Shafir. Give me your Jack Perry. Give me everyone who's done some botchy spots.
Right. Do you guys think that?
I honestly don't know what Moxley is doing because he talks in parables and I don't understand. So, so I don't even know what he's doing, to be honest.
The first week, and I haven't talked to you guys about this, but the first week he comes out and he looks like a complete badass in the sense of like new music, new attitude. I thought he should have changed his entrance from like stop coming out of the crowd because it's confusing because the crowd thinks you're supposed to party with you and now you're trying to present different. Again, picky writing shit and how my brain works. But it was really cool for him to do that threat. Then people connected it to this 1992 Russell Crowe movie, which is hilarious because it's word for word verbatim of what. Like they took a clip from Russell Crowe.
Oh yeah, it's not like Train Spotting. I know what the fuck you're talking about. It's fucking like Alvarez shouted it out.
Kanan or Haba or whatever.
Yeah, Gladiator.
Yeah, but so
my name is Maximus Decimus Meridius.
Yeah, so it's exactly kind of like on the nose. Now this week he comes back. Marina beats some people up, and whatever that like they should have did a backstage. Like I just had an interviewer go up to him backstage and be like, "Why are you here tonight?" The part with the Elite, like if this is not your company anymore, it should have been on site with the Elite then. So it was really weird. And then in addition to that, I think it's what he said. I don't know. And we still don't know if he wants to fight Darby or if he's trying to recruit Darby.
I think he's trying to recruit Darby. And I also don't know if it's even exactly an on-site type thing with the Elite or whatever. Like, and this still feels like very much like faction warfare versus anything. Like, we're getting into like, Nation of Domination, DOA, WWE territory here a little bit. But this is all just kind of weird. Like, I don't mind Moxley and having Marina Shafir if he wants to do more like a serious shoot, kind of faction or whatever. But it's just, what the fuck, out of nowhere.
I don't know. What did my face say?
I don't know.
Most of the time I'm peeking at the comments, so I'm reading.
Anything else? On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you say your excitement level going into All Out is, out of curiosity?
Surprisingly, for me, it's kind of high. I would say 7 because there's Bryan Danielson. I like you kind of convinced me that match is gonna cook. Swerve and Hangman, Will Ospreay and Pac, and I know I said that like I'm over the feud per se, but Willow and Chris Statlander I think is gonna be good too. So I would say 7.
Mm-hmm. I'm almost like, can I split? Like if I'm playing poker,
what do you got
to put my hand here?
Why can't you just give a number?
Fine, I'm trying.
I'll go with 7, 8, or 2. Like I'm pretty excited about this card. On paper, I think there's potential. Like the in-ring stuff, ignore everything else. Sit back with your popcorn as a wrestling fan. The in-ring could be really good. Chris Claire saying no Chris Jericho also helps, but there are rumors that they might add Chris Jericho and OC, which is like sickening.
There's still TBDs. Yeah.
Nick, did you come up with a number?
Well, if we're going 7 all the ways around here, I'll go 7, lucky 7s like we're playing the fucking slot machine here with this because, like you said right there, of, eat your popcorn, have your vitamins, enjoy the wrestling. If there's going to be some matches that may have not had the best build to it, may not make the most sense, but they're going to really fucking show up and show out.
Mm-hmm. One last question. Any chance that Christian, who's mentioned here, now, as far as I understand it, he can call a title match at any time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they haven't really clarified if it's like Money in the Bank style, but is there any chance that, Jack Perry has a match with Danielson and we leave All Out with Christian as the champion?
Because your father's dead?
Maybe.
That's the only thing I can think of with Christian.
Yeah. So
I say we hold out just a little bit longer.
Yeah.
I think Danielson needs like that lengthy reign as champion. Maybe that is how he loses the title down the line, but right now, I don't think so.
Yeah. I don't see it this time.
Am I bad for thinking that Christian could cash in at like a Dynamite?
I hope not.
That's like a Money in the Bank. Like, what's the next big pay-per-view that AEW has come
Grand Slams. He's doing the Grand Slam against Darby, and then he's doing Wrestle Dream.
So he cashes in
we
on
have 2 big shows in the next like 5 weeks, 6 weeks. So there'll be a lot of opportunities.
But so then does he cash in afterwards, or does he make it a triple threat?
I don't like when you cash in to make a triple threat. And if he's going to be the putrid heel that steals everything that he has been, making a triple threat doesn't make sense for who he is. He's the type that come in and stick the knife in your back. He's not going to stick the knife in your front.
But so then does he cash in and win over Danielson, or does he cash in and lose after Danielson's already beaten, presumably whatever challenger, like a Darby, etc.?
I think if he cashes in, he wins.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then who would you say he cashes in on?
It would be Danielson. He's the champion.
So you think that's the end? That's Christian retires Danielson because of cash in.
Yeah, but no one said that Danielson. Again, Danielson could drop that belt and still have like a farewell match at Wrestle Dream against Nigel McGuinness, like for nostalgia's sake. So we don't know what their plan is. So they're I'm not necessarily saying that if Christian runs out and wins the title, that Danielson's going to retire because of it.
Fair enough.
I don't know.
Anthony?
Oh, I said I said that I think Christian would take the title away from Bryan Danielson. So whenever that happens, that's like his last match as world champion.
Yeah, very interesting. I think Wrestle Dream, he shuts it down. So we will see. It's going to be a very intriguing night, folks. Saturday, of course, we're going to be live for it. We go live early, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. We will be here all night to react to all the fun, all the chaos. It's an AEW pay-per-view, so you know it's going to be insane. There's going to be plenty going on. We might get fire. We're definitely getting blood, and we're getting a whole bunch of other stuff. So be there with us. We will be the reaction to all the action tomorrow night. Special night here on the channel, SmackDown, Collision, and Rampage, 7:30 p.m. as always. Make sure you be a friend, tell a friend, do all that stuff, and follow all our socials. Be a part of the family, and that's it for me, folks. You got any final thoughts, gentlemen? No more questions.
No final thoughts for me. I am excited for All Out for the first time in a minute for an AEW pay-per-view. But yeah, tune in Saturday for the TNA review because apparently there's some stuff going down tonight.
I've seen some comments.
Our shit is real. Our shit is raw. Our shit is authentic. When you talk about that wrestling, but put that for life with it.
Back tomorrow for SmackDown and a whole bunch of other stuff. See you on the flip side, folks. Bye.